Fala galera do Fight, Diego Ribas, diretamente de Las Vegas, numa conexão com Atlanta. Rose Namajunas, how are you, Rose? And thank you for your time.
Oh, I'm doing really good. Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. Rose, did you watch? I believe yes, but have you watched your last fight? Did you have the chance to learn some lessons from that?
Yeah, I did. I watched it a few times and like kind of closer to when it happened. Um yeah, it was just frustrating, because I was so close. I was very close to winning that fight, but I think she just Aaron Blanchfield's willpower kind of just mine sort of dwindled, and she kind of just I just feel like she just wanted to win a little bit more towards the end. So I think that was kind of the key factor, and it was and I made some adjustments for that. I made sure that I had a really good like off season and things like that. But yeah, hats off to her. But it was a fight that I totally could have won. It's just sometimes it comes down to who wants it more.
It's interesting who wants it more.
Yeah.
And there's an answer for that? Like when you look back, why maybe another person was able to want more than you?
um Yeah, I think there's a lot of variables. I don't know, on her side of things, but for me, it's like, I think that's always been kind of a struggle for me, throughout my entire career. But I think a lot of it has to do with, I think, like for that one in particular, I think I was sort of forcing, trying to get that title shot as soon as possible instead of like maybe just giving myself a little extra time to be a little bit more, I don't know, just have a little more steam in my engine, so to speak, like yeah, so that's just like kind of one of the things. I think there's a lot of, I guess, variables that go into it, but at the end of the day, it's like, I think it just helps motivate me for this one even more. Um, so yeah, and I think a lot of it ends up being God's plan at the end of the day too. But I think mainly on my part, I think I was just forcing trying to get to the title as soon as possible instead of like really just making sure that I'm covering all my bases, and I don't know. Cuz this time I had, even though I wanted to get back in there a little sooner for this one, it was actually really good that I had a little bit more of an off season, and I was able to like kind of really concentrate on building my strength a little bit more outside of camp. And then once I got into camp, I was already strong, and instead of just like kind of riding off of the momentum of my last camp. So yeah, it just, I don't know, it's just kind of one of those things.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about this one. So you're facing Miranda Maverick.
Yeah.
After your last fight, what did you have in mind for the next step? Because Miranda is not a top 10, even though
Yeah.
she has like an amazing performance. Her last fights, I believe, 4 victories in a row.
Yeah.
Did you have her in the radar? Like maybe one day we're gonna face each other.
Yeah, because when I was set to face Macy Barber last year and she ended up pulling out of the fight, Miranda was like one of the first people to say like put me in there. Even though we were like kind of training partners at the time, and so it was so ever since then I knew that she was wanting this opportunity, wanting my spot. So even though we still trained together throughout that whole thing, I always kept that in mind, like that would be a possibility. But did I foresee that happening right this like for this fight? Not necessarily. I was kind of looking sort of more closer to my ranking numbers, but like in particular, I was actually looking at like Viviane Arujo, also. But I know she has a scheduled fight now, but so that was like one of a couple other names that I was looking at too. Um, but it wasn't like necessarily a super shock or surprise that that's what the name they threw out there for me. So it's never something that I like. Obviously nobody really wants to fight below the ranking, like fight somebody lower than them. But at the same time, Miranda, I do know that she is, I think, probably better than what her ranking says she is. So yeah, I just think, maybe she just kind of had some, come up short in certain fights, like certain pivotal fights. But so it is. She's a good competition and a good opponent for me to showcase my abilities and my skills. And but yeah, so it is what it is. I'm really ready and looking forward to facing her.
And how would you describe your relation with her? Like, for how long did you train together? Is there any
Yeah.
point, like, what kind of information you bring because of that? And at certain point, were you kind of close? Were kind of friends at that time?
I wouldn't say that we're like, super close or anything. I mean, I kind of know a little bit of her personality and stuff, but it's not like we hang outside of the gym or anything. She is like a fellow sister in Christ, so I've prayed with her before, like so in that regard, I have respect for her and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, our personalities are also very different. You know what I mean? Like, so it like, but I don't have any ill will towards her. I guess I was a little bit annoyed when we were supposed to do a face off and she came 20 minutes late. So, but it is what it is. We get to fight each other. So, but yeah, it's just healthy competition, and I think when we're training together, it's mainly just for sparring, and it was mainly like over the years I've known her as long as she's moved to Colorado, and there was times where we did get to spar together throughout those many years. But I'd say mostly in the last year or two, minus I guess from 6 months ago, uh that's when we would just like she would come to my gym to spar and get rounds with me, and that was pretty much the extent of our training. So it was like maybe like once a week for, I don't know, on and off for like a year and a half or so.
Got it. And after all those years, those camps that you put in as a 125er, do you see
Yeah.
your body like more ready for this division? Like, because when I saw the face off, you and Miranda, and there's something interesting. Like, we're always a leaner or skinnier or like a more lean than
Yeah.
your opponents. They're like a kind of bulk
Yeah.
when you compare when I compare you with them.
Yeah.
And it's natural for us, not athletes, to see, oh, this person has more muscle, so maybe she
Hmm.
has an advantage. And how's
Yeah.
that for you? Is your body already like a 125er?
Yeah. I mean, right now I'm starting my cut, and I'm like 134 right now. I mean, I'm a lot taller, I have a longer reach. So, I mean, maybe I guess in certain I'm not like the biggest 125er, but I'm also not like a like I'm not necessarily 115er anymore, So I'd say I put on, I think like, yeah, like 5 pounds of like more muscle. But yeah, I also don't feel like that really, you know uh matters as much, and I also like the challenge. And yeah, so I think at the end of the day, it's like, before we had weight classes, like nobody cared about any of that. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I mean, it does play into it. And but I definitely have the reach advantage, and I have the length, and so yeah, I'll definitely be using all of that.
How would you match up this fight skill by skill when you compare yourself and Miranda?
Skill versus skill. Yeah, I just believe I'm better everywhere, to be honest. But um I know she has really good, she does have a really good grappling base, and fundamentals and things like that. Um she has like good back control, and good wrestling. Her striking is I wouldn't say it's like, the top level, but it's definitely something that she uses to set up her grappling. And so she's crafty with certain with her, she moves a lot, and she tries to draw you in. So that's kind of just some of her, I guess, tactics and things. I think when she was younger, she was a little bit more aggressive. And so yeah, we're kind of ready for, obviously we've trained together, so maybe she might be making some sort of adjustments or some sort of changes. But um I'm ready for it all, you know what I mean? Like for me, it's like my skills are, I mean, there's no secret to, I guess the level of my skill. It's just a matter of putting it together, and using it to the best of my abilities, and not holding myself back, and just getting over uh I guess just, this head that I got.
Perfect, perfect. When
Yeah.
you see her as an opponent,
Yeah.
sh all the finish she had in her career are not that many, but all the
Yeah.
finish she had are after physical dominance. She's like a physical athlete.
Yeah.
And kind of, I don't like to say that, but looks like she almost quote, does the same thing in terms of the approach the fight, and always gonna try to take you down and stuff. And
Yeah.
she's really good what whatever she brings to the case. She does really good job doing that.
Yeah.
Do you consider her kind of predictable when it comes to the IQ fight or the game plan?
Yeah, I think most fighters are kind of predictable, especially after you have like so many fights. I think, we tend to just do what we're good at. Even if we've worked on something new for the training camp, it's like when you get to the fight, it's very likely that you're just kind of gonna go to your bread and butter. And she's gonna try to do the same thing that she always does. And she's gonna try to do that to me. But the thing is I've really been working with you know like I've had really good sparring this camp, and I've also had a major realizations too that, like, I guess I wasn't necessarily applying myself as much as I thought I was, in against different like training partners and things. And so once I made that realization, it's like, and it's hard to know that until you just have that realization. So I feel like that it's going to be a surprise to her how much different um I am now. And I think that's going to be the difference maker. And I've had a really good training partners as well. I've had, Carly Judice, who's maybe not the best grappler, but she's a great striker, and she's very physical too. And she's very big for the weight class, I think. So, and she was training with me for 3 weeks, and it just really, we really, pushed the pace, and got really tough with that. And then and grappling with her, she's, even though she might not be like, her grappling might not be necessarily on Miranda's level, but it's definitely decent, and she's an athlete. And I definitely, pushed my cardio and my pace with her. And then I also had Jillian Robertson come in, who's, obviously she's like the best female grappler in the UFC. So yeah, I've had a lot of good training partners. And then, just kind of like my normal training partners. And also I have like Chico Camus, who's very physical as well. And so yeah, he puts it on me. So anyway, yeah, I'm very prepared for the physicality, and that is kind of something that, she just tries to control. And then eventually, she'll, yeah, like you said, she doesn't have that many finishes, but that's kind of how those come about in her other fights.
Perfect, perfect. Always good to talk to you, Rose. And as you know, to finish the interview, I'm gonna let you alone on the screen. Ask you to send a message for your Brazilian fans and answer the question why they should watch your fight Saturday night.
Yes, I just want to say to all my Brazilian fans, I'm really, just grateful for you, and grateful for just like the culture, the fight culture that you guys have. So definitely, I'm gonna just put it all out there, and do my best, and really just really focus on letting go in this performance. So definitely don't miss it. Make sure you tune in, because I'm just really focusing on putting on the best display of mixed martial arts that I can. And hopefully have get to a finish, and just it be amazing. And then maybe we can go visit Brazil one day. Thank you. Obrigado.